Oh, it's working. Cool. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Good morning. I'm up for health reasons. That's one of that way. This is probably a little bit too bright. Kind of annoying. So let's just do some setup. So you might be able to. That's not helping, is it? Cool. Yeah, I had. Looks like your SOL. This is my bedroom. This is my bookshelf. The thumbnail is dope. I actually went into this book blind because I just buy a bunch of Russian lit, so this is Lermontov. It's a hero of our time. I just went in blind, which is what I suggest you do, honestly. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. My comparison, the thing that I have said, I don't know if this holds up. I don't know if this is a good one or if it's great. I would say it's like the Clueless of 1800s Russia. So I don't know. This is kind of like a romp, and I don't know. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. We'll talk about it more later. Got other stuff coming up. I'm trying to figure out how I gotta get this wheel on the other side of that, and now I can slide in. Sick. I think that this is about as good as we're gonna get. Oh. All right, cool. So I have a novel in the work. I have a novel published, self-published, on Amazon, Portrait of the Rat. That's been out for a few years. I wrote the first draft of that, either 13 or 14. And then I edited it until like 2016, 17. Now this one I wrote like 2018, 19. I wrote a lot of it while working at Carhartt. Anyways, we're getting into it. But it's a book I've been planning for like fucking years. I just have these I don't know. I get these intuitive designs of novels. I don't really plan them out. They just kind of I'm like, that seems like a story. And then eventually it becomes a story. And this one is based, the idea behind it, what I'm going for is so I started writing as a teenager, and a lot of my projects are holdovers from being a teenager. And part of that comes with a lot of them are started for funny reasons. I started writing because I didn't like books. I didn't like reading. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna make something better. But this book was at least inspired in part by me hating John Green, and me hating the way that he creates female characters. I don't know. I don't think I care as much anymore. I don't really want to fight with John Green. I used to when I was like a teenager. I was a little shitlord. But my criticism of it is that I don't really like the typical female archetype. I think that either way it's shallow. Either way, they're forgettable objects meant to further a plot, or they're just perfect heroes, kind of like the Epic of Gilgamesh. And for me, what I would like to see is human characters. And I mean, I have the same frustration with male characters, but I think it's especially abysmal in the youth area of children's literature. I just think that the female archetypes are stupid as shit. The window's open as well, so you're gonna get noises. Oh no, this is a relatively quiet street. Yeah, so that's where the book is starting from. I'm on a first draft. There's I need to finish the last 10,000 words of it. So I got 10,000 words left of the book to write. But I do have, I think, how many do I have? Let's just check it. Tools, word count. I got 84,000 words. That was my original goal, was 80,000, because I'm aiming for like a 200-page novel. I want it to be easy, you know. I want it to be like Stranger, Catcher in the Rye, sort of weight. Well, good morning. Good morning. 8 in the fucking morning. Shit, is it school? This is my report. No, let's just get into it. I'm just gonna start reading it. I'm gonna put it up somewhere in case people are interested in the drafts. Part of this is because like my life has gotten busy. I don't have as much time to work on novels as I'd like to, but if there was more awareness or demand or just like some sort of like togetherness with that, I'd probably do it more often, you know? So I don't know, I lost my train of thought. I'm also high. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Good morning. But I'm just gonna get started on the novel now. So first line, let's just go. Frost glistened over overlapping circles, icy blue, like one of the frozen sheets, which baby deer and wolves used to float their way from Canada to the house along the riverfront. A smooth tooth bit into my bare fingers, closing with a jump, requiring another shove until it could be rocked into place. Shakingly, my icy sticks fished out my pack of cigarettes, drawing out one of the smokes, all of which had acquired a slight bent, my jeans choking them against the contours of my ass. Flakes of pigment collected everywhere, white on the asphalt, yellow under the ancient light, which bathes the backyard of a modest 3-story mansion. I got a wet mouth right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm dying. It had the consistency of dry paint crushed between fingertips, grinded to a dust that settled where it would, air, foot, or lung. Atop my fingers and my cigarette, pregnant flakes rested, kissing the blood along my knuckles and soaking through. My fire kissed the smoke, turning flake into mush, while the snow clung to my hand like the riverbed. Inhale death, feel alive. The plumes reached down past my throat, dancing along my sides until it rotted in my stomach. Tar-lined flesh greeted its long familiar partner, spreading the feeling of desaturation as the crop stagnated in my lungs, invading my bloodstream, hopefully ruining the possibility of this womb ever becoming fecund. Fecund? I'm a writer, I'm not a speaker. With the exhale goes my color, my pale skin no longer competing with the snow, but outpacing it. Bone would be jealous. Thudding rumbles ruined the quiet of the Michigan night. The same staccato flow raped its way atop instrumentals stolen from the East, from Africa, and from the historical bed of Europe. The proud tradition of speaking truth, now bragging of potency only told, never shown. A genre led by men proud to claim potency and fearlessness, but who were afraid to choke someone until they turned purple, and of child support, often for the same reason. A scene cluttered by satellites who shine in the night, too afraid to stray from their mother, blips which will never be able to compete with the stars that inspired them. So that's 4 paragraphs. And the point of this character, basically, or not the point, but like the vibe is this sort of, it's funny because it's like it's supposed to be a little bit of a pretentious voice because it's this like I don't have like a firm age. I'm thinking like 16, 17. And it's like she's somebody with there's gonna be, obviously the story's gonna unfold, but part of it is a cultural affinity towards literature or like poetry and stuff like that. And like just trying to, find a voice with that and trying to do that, but it's like struggling to do so. I think it's like kind of cool to include that in the archetype of a teenager, include that in the character where it's like this sort of unrelenting awkwardness. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's kind of how I see it. Is that like that's what else are you doing? How else are you going to be at that age? And yeah, that's just what I want to like. That is my awareness of this voice as I'm reading it. Is this sort of overreaching, talented young girl who's like definitely capable and definitely going into some interesting subjects, but not quite, not quite fully formed, not quite fully aware of where she wants to go or what she's doing, you know. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Wait, so yeah, we did that. Take water. Don't judge me. Leaning against the brick wall, closing in the back patio with an L. Actually, this is like I don't know what's wrong with me. Like there's like 3-4 fucking books that I've written where I describe either a room or furniture with a fucking L. It's a corner piece. I don't know why this idea is stuck in my fucking head, but anyway. Leaning against the brick wall, closing in the back patio with an L. I tried to eye the stars themselves, but the light of the city was too suffocating there. All the street lights remained functional in the neighborhood, and all the homes kept their porch, back, and side lights on. A decade ago, in my black skirt I sewed stars and musical notes on. There were no lights on except for the center console of the car, and the vibrant orange that would make 2 in the afternoon blush for its vivid punch. We were on our way back from my bass lessons. Daddy, why is it so bright over there? I asked him. I can't do a female voice. Why am I reading this book out loud? Because I'm an idiot. No, it's fun. Daddy, why is it so bright over there? I asked him, tapping on the passenger side window and bouncing to try to see over the 2-story bungalows that littered the city. I don't know, dear, he answered in a growl, but it's probably bad news. His eyes were the blue of his, which meant that he was giving that attention, the same eyes he gave to people that he'd lock away. A blue broken with an unreal streak of white, cutting the chilling stare with a dagger that promised to never be removed. Can we see? I pestered, standing up in the car, pressing my face against the window. He thought for a while, silent. With slow movement, he turned the music down until it was silent, then turned off the headlights. Sure. But Joan, promise me that your mother hears about none of this. I faced him, smiled, jumped, then kissed his cheek. Yay! Thanks. In a gruesome silence, Dad turned off-roadward onto Custer. When we got close enough to see, there was a row of houses engulfed in a flame, flirting between the most hideous black I'd ever seen dancing, and interchanging with orange plumes that felt like they were burning through the outer layer of my eyeballs. I screamed and put my hands on my chin. My butt fell back in the seat, and I pulled my legs up to me. Dad quietly rolled into a back alley on the southern street, finding a vantage with nothing but fields between us and the fire. With the sounds of a tree being felled, the roof of a porch came crashing down on one of the houses, crashing through the support underneath it. Dad grabbed my hand and I started crying, but the reds were too beautiful. Shadowy figures ran outside the house, and stray animals ran in circles. It was impossible to tell dog from cat, pheasant from human. A figure lit a bottle and threw it at a house across the street. Within seconds, the steps of the porch were engulfed in the lick of flames. A minute later, it exploded up the walls of the house. Why? I screamed, tears streaming down my face. Daddy, why? He picked me up by my sides and pulled me onto his lap, then wrapped his arms around me, my face squished into his shoulder. Because we haven't done enough, he answered. rocking me. He opened the center of the car, which I now know is where he kept his pistol. For a few minutes, he watched as people screamed inside the home, and strays sang a chorus of howls and hisses. I passed out from fear, sweating against his suit. His breath was even, like when he ran tennis drills with me. I hiccup while I hiccup and shook my way to sleep. He stroked my back and my hair, shing me as I dug my hands into his sweater. Other than the fires, the neighborhood was pitch black. Now, 7 blocks north, their lights suffocate the sky. Population hardly went up, but security did. So that's the first thing. The idea behind this novel is it's a journal, and it's just I mean, that's like been my writing style for pretty much ever. It's just a first person narrative that's basically somebody's thoughts directly. So that's it's weird, it's interesting because I had fully written what I have right now before I read A Hero Over Time. Damn, yeah, pretty similar fucking idea. Where it's just like these collection of documents. I love that shit. Because like, oh shit, that's a spoiler. Fuck. But I told you. Well, go read it. Go read it. But the idea is that so if there's a hypothetical book. That is just the idea is that you made up somebody and you're discovering their letters, you're discovering their documents. I mean, in Portrait of the Rat, I have literally the love letters between the founders of the society. So it's like, I don't know, I really like that meta narrative thing. And it's funny because like you're a kid and you're looking at like literature and you're like, oh, I don't like this. I gotta fucking reinvent it, man. I gotta just do some wild, crazy experimental things. And then you just end up being similar to people who are like 160 years ago. That's like pretty much what they were experimenting with 200 years ago. Like also there's stuff before that. Like even if you're going into like 100, 200, 300 AD, there's like some interesting works of art. I don't know. It's just cool because like human ideas aren't really new. There's like definitely people you can relate to that are definitely having thoughts similar to your thoughts. Always, for everybody throughout history. It takes just an absurd amount of reading. And you're gonna mostly not like it because most stuff is bullshit to most people, So then like it just eventually you find the people who are like you. And I don't know. I'm happy with it. I like Russia. And I like the I don't know. I guess esoteric philosophy kind of. But yeah, I'm on the looking into that. I'm like digging this project. The story is the story. It's about I open up the book apparently. I thought I did it with something else, but I think we're about to get a double whammy here. But that first part is obviously about it's just a girl smoking cigarettes in a backyard during a snow and tripping out about this time that her dad took her to watch people burn down houses so that she could see what was going on and why the city lit up. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't want to spoil things either, but see where I'm going with this? It's like yeah, it's a novel about a teen girl, but like the emphasis is on the human experience. The voice is certainly directed towards that character. And I do try to I don't know what the word is. I do try to oh yeah. So like something that's like awkward is that women talk about their bodies and bodies in general, just humans openly. I don't know. Like it's like as a dude, it probably wouldn't be saying like the cigarette's like fucking up against the contour of my ass. Like there's like a certain level of honesty and directness in the voice there that I think is very. I mean, I don't know. I had to think about like talking that way, and it does come off as crass, but I also like I don't know. That's just observational. Yeah, I love writing and I love characters. This is my favorite character so far. just because it's, I don't know, I guess she's my like the closest to real. Everything else I write, I take a set, I just make up a setting. And like this is I am trying to make this a love letter to Detroit at some point. In some way, I do want to see if there's a natural way to put it in that includes things well. There's stuff in it already. Well, I guess I should just keep fucking going, but it's a live stream. This is, I don't know. I'm working out this idea with you. Because it's like I think it's interesting. You know, like people are live streaming playing fucking Dota. What can I live stream working on a book? Yeah, that's basically the concept behind this, is that you can live stream anything. Why not live stream the creative process? Hey, look, I'll edit something. I don't know if I want to edit any of this so far. I think I just, well, let's get into it. Like, so the response, because we haven't done enough. I don't know. Kind of want to say it's like because we're missing something. Maybe he says nothing. Maybe he just rocks her. Yeah, I think that's my. I'm just gonna delete that. I think he just rocks her. So it's just a he paragraph, but I think that works with the teenage daughter. So it's like God damn it. Don't be Japanese, because if so, I'm about to be offensive. All right, cool. He picked me up by my sides and pulled me onto his lap, then wrapped his arms around me. My face squished into his shoulder. He rocked me. He opened the center of the car, which I now know was where he kept his pistol. For a few minutes, he watched as people screamed inside the house, and Stray sang a chorus of howls and hisses. Yeah, I think that makes it more terrifying. I think it's also more honest. I don't know. That answer is like hit or miss. If we want it back, it's on camera. So I know I edited that. That's also the thing that's cool about live streaming. So this is basically just a diary. All right, cool. So the back door started to shake, causing me to jump off the brick. A wiry frame popped out as he jimmied the door open, cursing as the door gave and took, bouncing its way between angled and flat. Hey, Brian, I said, speaking over a smoke plume. And this is funny, too, because Brian what up, though, Johnny? He replied, fishing his leg out from the door. Have fun. Because, like, again, this is the thing, is that, like, it's supposed to, I'm trying to include a little bit of suburban cringe in this, which is a funny thing. Because, like, after this, I do want to do a more, I want to do, so this is like a novel that's supposed to be, like, this side of Detroit. And then I do want to do a short story collection that would be, like, much smaller, but also, like, much more focused on realistic stories. He replied, fishing his leg out from the door, half falling outside before he fell on his balance and closed the door behind him. There's too many use of the word door there. So the first one's definitely going to be an it. So cursing as it gave and took. Because a wiry frame popped out as he jimmied the door open, cursing as it gave and took, bouncing its way between angled flat. I don't know. I think so. This is the problem, is that, like, this is a first draft. I don't even know if I read that over. I think I might be trying to say something, because, like, a lot of this is like this overly technical vocabulary of a painter. That's also what I'm trying to work in here. Because, you know, obviously she's, well, did I bring that up? No, we're finding out this together. We're going in. Because I want to earn it. You know, I want to, like, read this out and, like, earn the ability to talk about it. Um, his fingers plundered his raggedy chore coat until he pulled out a cigarette case, a metal piece imprint with an imprint from St. Petersburg on it. Inside were 7 spliffs, the only thing unusable he packed. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. That is like literally just based on this object. This is a St. Petersburg, Soviet Russia cigarette case made by a Soviet, used by a Soviet. So sometimes you just write what you know. I don't know. That's stupid. I don't know. Why is that in the book? Why is that in the book? Why'd that get it in there? Brains are stupid. Brains are stupid. That's my hair looks so bad. Nah, should I be vain right now? No, I think I might put the hood up. Yeah, this is the solution. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now I just look like now I'm just a Sith Lord. I kind of look bald now. That's strange. Now I'm gonna let you go, right? I asked, reaching out for his spliff after he took a hit. Yeah, I'm all right. I should probably make that eye, because if he's trying to fit in, then like yeah, I'm gonna make that eye, because let's keep trying to fit in. Another drag from smoke before handing it to me and taking my cigarette. I want to smoke so bad now. Any luck with that guitar gag? I didn't see any cuties in there, but I know we've got a bit of difference in taste. His weed was cheap as fuck, tasting staler than any pack of American Spirit that isn't light blue sold at a gas station, but it hit good. Sometimes I wondered if his dealer sprinkled keef on top of the product before he sold it, because it was way more potent than you anticipated. I felt color rip back into my shoulders. Who taught me English? Uh, he laughed, shook his head, then traded smokes. Nah, no luck so far. But you know me, I'm always looking for a bitch who got a dad to get mad at me and ban me from the house. There's a laugh that I just literally, I didn't like, there's a blonde I've been looking at tonight. She's mostly dead. But sometimes she's got stuff to say. Oh, these teenagers, man, they are that fucking dumb. They are that fucking dumb. Rachel, I asked with a bit of snort. Yeah, maybe. I think. It took a while to flip through his brain. It's either Rachel. Wait. This guy's a douchebag. Yeah, maybe. I think. It took a while to flip through his brain. It's either Rachel or Karen. Karen's a redhead. Rachel's a blonde. I replied, blowing smoke out of the side of my mouth. Oh shit, yeah. He passed back the spliff. That's right. You know Rachel? Brian, we go to West Catholic. I know every girl in the social clique, especially any of the ones worth flirting with. Yeah, that's all right. Also, I went to West Catholic, he said stuffily. True, but you still come to our parties, so... He smiled and kicked some of the snow growing on the ground. Well, Matt didn't get kicked out, so it's not like I'm going to just abandon the band. I'm playing alone tonight. I gave him back the spliff, then put out my cigarette. Yeah. He replied, and took a few big hits. Who are you with tonight, though? Did you drive? He asked after a single cough. No, I'm with Christian. Brian groaned and rolled his eyes. Yeah? You are? How's that going? Is being as great as he always is? I took the split back. Better. You know him. Always fantastic. He shook his head. So this is weird because it's like it's half play. So I want to act it out, but I have to read it because how would you know? How would you fucking know? Do you want to ride back with me? I've got room. We can go whenever you want to. You know, it's fuck this party. Just tell me. For a few moments, I watched the pigments gather and die on my boots, eating through the thin leather to my socks. No, I started and stopped. Another drag, the flame threatening to start on the filter. No, I'm good. Are you sure, Joni? I'm here for you. I'd like to be here for you. It's absolutely no inconvenience for me. He was fishing for my eyes with his. I kept them on the ground. Yeah, I said. mustering up the strength for eye contact and looking at him. Yeah, I'll be fine, Brian. It's really no problem. Okay, he said, taking the spliff, hitting until the filter caught, then putting it out. Smoke to the bone, baby. That offer stands all of tonight and forever, though. Just please let me know. I'm always here if you need it. Pulling out another cigarette, I forced a smile. Yeah, Brian, I'm sure. I stumbled out with a blush. Yeah. It's my book. How do I not know how to read my own fucking book? I swear to. I think I just pulled a temple. Yeah, Brian, I'm sure I stumbled out with a blush. Thanks so much, though. I really appreciate you. A meaty mitt grabbed the door and slung it open, causing a myriad of chunky thuds as it skirted over the lining of the door frame. The glass inside the door shook like a trampoline. Dude! Came with an oafish tone as the lumbering body of an 5'11" doof who calls himself 6 foot tumbled out into the backyard. Oof, it's freezing, he continued, rubbing his arms once he was fully outside. Brian eyed him up with a narrow. All right, so like I got to get some respect for doing this raw because like I haven't edited this at all, right? Brian eyed him up with the narrowed eyes. I think I'm done. I think quit. I think I'm just done with book. Narrowly eyed him. I think I'm gonna go with narrowly eyed him. Narrowly eyed him up with raised brows. I don't know how to fix that sentence, man. Narrowly is not a word. It is. I'm retarded because I spelled it wrong. Back a bit. He stopped himself, then turned to me. You sure, Joan? I nodded my head. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. But it'll be okay. Okay, he replied and wrapped his arm around me. I love you, kid. Stay safe. If you need anything, just find me. The oaf grunted as he watched him. Displeased. She can also ask me, Brienne. Brian let go of me, then turned to him. How's the DUIs coming along, Christian? Christian laughed from his belly. They're going great, faggot. The sheriff's going to drop the charges. And the city? He asked with a softened expression, eyes attentive and brows arched in a mockery of care. Christian growled, yeah, whatever. Don't you have some girls to try to get into your minivan? As long as they haven't... Don't you have some girls to try to get into your minivan? As long as they haven't fucked you, Brian replied before nodding to me with a wink. Oh, then disappearing into the house, closing the door in a single janky thrust. Oh, piss of 2-quart, Christian replied, banging on the window. You wish you could have hoses clean. The oaf turned to me, eyed me with boyish lust, then looked at my cigarette and frowned. So what are you doing out here, dear? It's so cold. You'll catch a chill. I brought my jacket on closer over my shoulders. Just getting some fresh air, I said, holding the cigarette between us like a fencing rapier. You know, there's a whole party going on inside, he cooed, trying to inch his way closer to me as the business end of my smoke trailed him. Just fucking going. Yeah, I replied. There's plenty for you to enjoy yourself with. But nothing as interesting as you, he replied, reaching for his mitt with my hair, which I dodged by cozying further into the nook of the wall. Ha ha ha, I laughed. There's got to be something for you in there. Nah, he slang, sitting next to me on the wall before jumping up, realizing he just coated his ass in the wet wash of the night. God damn it. He brushed off his jeans, jumping as he did so. Muttering and grumbling, he tried to get the darkened patch off his jeans to no avail. Off him jeans. Yeah. Him jeans, kind of like mom jeans. Without a word, I watched him, smirking as I enjoyed my cigarette. You get a load of that, Dick. Christian spat out after deciding to abandon his damp ass. What do you mean, dear? I replied with a voice almost as cold as my mother's. What do you mean, dear? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that fucker Brian. Christian continued, thinking that poverty is a style, not like taking care of yourself is fashion sense. He laughed at his own joke. But that's just one of those long hair hippie faggots thinking they can sneak their way around bitches because they look like them. Ow, ouch, ouch. I like personally offended. I can't, I just hurt my own feelings. Damn, I am a bad writer. Hey, I get it. You got a soggy asshole, but you're bitching like a Burby. I asked between us. A Burby? The oaf asked, his eyes searching for his brow for the answer. Someone from the suburbs, genius. My family is from the suburbs, Joan. Christian said with something that sounded like a modicum of pride. I know. I took a far-reaching drag, cutting the bottom of my lungs. For a while, the sweet silence of night. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this style. It's kind of like a prose poetry thing, but yeah, like this specific passage. For a while, the sweet silence of night. The sky swirled with its business, the snow dancing along invisible avenues of wind and interest, gliding from roof to street, lot to field. The long fingers of searchlights from downtown combed through the night, promising fun like a pot of gold promised at the end of a rainbow. A few stars were brave enough to poke through the purplish black that took the scene. So what do you think about the party then? He asked, starting anew. It's pretty good, but I think I would maybe rather just be around you. Hmm? The way his voice sounded was like an old working girl speaking over a cigarette at a dive bar, hungry for the payment she eyed in her pockets ill-fitting jeans. And her targets. Targets? Yeah. Yeah. And her targets ill-fitting jeans. They can't. Is that a term? Pocket pick slang? Is pocket slang? And not that one. Not out of pocket. Do you refer to somebody you're stealing from as pocket? Are those pockets? I'm gonna assume no, because I was thinking that maybe there's like a use of that, but like I don't know, because I do like putting in little, whatever. So I'm just trying to make sure it's not one of those. It's great, I replied, choking down smoke. It's another wonderful night for the West Catholic crowd, one where drinks and faulty pregnancies abound. What a tradition. Yeah, he cooed, slipping closer to me, trying to get an arm around my side as I slid more upright against the wall, forcing his sleeve and hand to rest in the snow. That's true. If only we were lucky enough for Stephanie's home to have more bedrooms. He nuzzled into my nape. I shifted my weight so that his hand and arm were dipped into the snow, getting some inside the lining of his coat. Fuck. He withdrew and wiped off his sleeve, careful to keep calm. Well, anyways, you should come back inside. Or we should go soon. You'll catch a cold this way, babe. Second fucking time he said that. His shortish blonde hair was turning brown in the snow. It covered down to his eyebrows like a beetle shell on top of a fried egg. Both eyes both eyes shining like rolled up shit. I wanted to vomit. Ooh, holy shit. I was thinking that because like usually I write a book and then my editing process is to delete 80% of it to do a complete rewrite. Some of this is pretty good. I think it's funny. It's fucking funny. Oh my god. Ah, yeah, okay, I murmured, looking down at the ground, moving the snow around with my boot. He grabbed my free hand and shouted, Yes, you want to ditch them, babe? I got my truck. No, I said, trying to pull my hand out. I'd like to say more of the party, dear. All of our friends are here. True. He sung back before jamming the door open. We'll just stay a little bit longer then. But come in, come in. I don't want you sick. Like that, he pulled me through the door. I took a few hits quickly inside, then threw the butt outside. He walked me back through the party, past hungry eyes with bare legs up to their pubic hair, young bodies more thin and athletic than developed, enjoying substances more poison than recreation. The music raged on, the muffled ignorance forcing bodies together and mouths open, asses pressed out into the air, sweat articulating around every orifice. Huh. Christian, shouted one of his dumb, beefy friends. That's not right. Christian, shouted one of his dumb, beefy friends. That one was jumping the beat, both hands in the air, pseudo dancing to some understanding of the rhythm, and one fist, a red cup near empty, the other hand pointed like a gun at Christian. His curly hair bounced on his head like a mop being shaken, and his expression was that stupid, coked out grin of a cereal box villain. Christian howled back, let go of my hand, then jumped his way over to his idiot, slinging his arm around him and ruffling his hair. Rubbing my cheekbones, I scanned the rest of the party and found the tile of the kitchen. Excusing myself past writhing couples and belligerent teenagers, I headed towards the liquor. The smell of sweat mixed with Smirnoff's, cheap deodorant, and early Dior Christmas gifts assaulted the senses. In the dark, the eyes of the teens were greedy, insecure in their own grip on life. Insecure with? Insecure in? Insecure of. I think it is in. I think you're insecure in it. Fuck it. So desperately trying to dominate everything. Mouths open, 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 kissing, drinking, screaming, laughing at nothing. Their feet never seemed to be on the ground or leaned against others, leaned against the wall. Teeth so white you could see their parents' reflection chattered and clanked, being stained by alcohol and soda. Joni! Screamed the most composed looking girl in the house. White sleeves, white leggings, green skirt, green framing on a shirt, green beanie, green shoes, red buckle. Steph, I replied, forcing the school smile on. She came in for a hug, tits pressed against me, ass way out. Her arms crushed me a little, in that cute way someone who still talks to their dad can. How are you? She squealed. I haven't seen you get anything. Let me grab you a drink. I'm all right, I replied. How are you? All right, she said while pouring bourbon into a glass of frou-frou apple juice. Tired from this party and being on mom watch, but good otherwise. I think I'm going to get on honors this semester. Oh, really? I'm so proud of you. I took the glass and smelled it, then sipped. It was strong as fuck, but masked like a slut. Yeah, she replied. I didn't think I could, but then I stayed after to talk to Mr. Henderson, Miss Abigail, and Mrs. Swift, and all of them turned around on some of my essays. Miss Swift says I should be a lawyer. Yeah, I'm super excited. My dad says that if I get the grades, then I get to go to LA over break and just, oh my God. I replied into my drink. Yeah, it sounds like everything's really looking up. How do the conversations go? Lovely. Stephanie replied, just had to promise that I would be a good student, stop screwing around in my class, all that. I replied, so they gave it to you just like that. Yeah, Mr. Henderson had me do some work, but it wasn't too serious. You go, girl. Proud of you. Yeah, it means I'll still be able to be on the tennis team, so we'll still be able to do drills. Oh, I said, staring at my cup, eyeing the swirly bubbles before looking back at her. Your grades are really that bad? I mean, that's sad. That's sad. Well, she giggled, not all of them, but I did have a D in one of my classes, so Mrs. Waters wasn't exactly happy with that. I gulped, then took a swig. But yeah, fuck, Steph. Glad you got out of that. Listen, I gotta go. Got some people I was talking to. Oh, of course. Don't let me keep you, girl. You keep at it, she said, each word higher than the last. She pushed my shoulder and kicked up one of her feet. Two idiots stumbled in. Okay, so we're gonna keep it on two idiots. So that's where we're at. I don't know. Oh no. I think I'm also gonna include a female teacher in the implication there. I think I'm gonna do Mrs. Swift. I don't know where the fuck I'm getting these names. No, because I think that I don't know. Current events, things are a little bit different. Also, I don't know. Maybe I don't remember who's who in this fucking book. I have Stephanie. I'm trying to remember. Is maybe Stephanie is like the main antagonist? Bitchy, useless chick. Mm. But yeah, these characters just literally exist to be killed. All right, so I'm gonna mark that for later. Yeah, let's just take this sentence, put it into notes. Just do that. That's a burpee burp. And the edited part was that part cool. So back to it. Oh shit, not a new tab. Two idiots stumbled in, both in varsity jackets. They had their arms around each other's shoulders and were laughing, shouting a conversation. One of them dropped their cup. Another round, keep, shouted the one who dropped his cup as the other one snickered, rubbing his friend's back. Keep 'em a coming. Stephanie rolled her eyes with a sigh. How'd you guys get out of the east side? She said before grabbing a rag and starting to clean up the mess as the boys cackled. You guys are always doing too much. I shouldn't have even let you drink tonight. Two. I have not edited this because I literally have a copy and paste segment that's like 60 words that just repeat. I shouldn't even let you guys at the keg. Probably the ones that are all right. Cool. So we have that. Yeah. That's just, wait. No. God damn it. Okay. So I have to. All right. So we have the rag. We have all that cleaned up. Cool. So yeah, I'm just deleting that, and then we're moving on. So as she scrubbed the floor, I snuck away. Oh shit. I'm having technical difficulties. This is a little bit past. I'm running a little bit low on energy, but I want to finish this part because this part of the book is like the intro, pretty much. As she scrubbed the floor, I snuck away, back into the lowly lit home. There were bodies everywhere. The music had changed to a local song, cutting an instrumental, ever present with its delivery. Half of the home was dancing, the other half rapping along. I shouldered my way to a couch and found one with an open seat. My head was spinning as I slunk down into it. Watching the party looked more terrifying than the city at night. Arms striking out, legs running along, glasses falling from shelves, girls being pressed together like pancakes. The sound of cracking high school voices following along to gang tracks was like the harmony of a car crash. Varsity jackets shouting about extendo clips and patrolling the streets at night. As people jumped, the music was turned up, shaking the windows. I drank half of a cup and I sip. I drank half of my cup in a sip, then rubbed my face with my hands. The boys started throwing each other, landing on tables and people, laughing, then jumping back up. At the first local song, as the first local song was finished, a second followed it, kicked off by someone throwing glass outside, throwing glass out the window into the street. The bass dropped with the sound of speaker tearing, and the chorus was echoed by the party, everyone jumping as they spat at bar for bar. I took another sip, then leaned my head back, resting against the back of the couch. My eyes closed automatically and my thoughts began to swirl. I saw the stars through the bubble window in my house, my body dwarfed in my father's hands. His fingers wrapped around my shoulders and my legs like I was a loaf of bread. My hands reached up to the sky that was behind a repurposed greenhouse window. It looked like forever. It still does. No direction is as endless as up. The eyes immediately see where the feet can never go, and spaceships can only dip into. The warmth from his hands felt like a massage, so secure, so certain. For years he'd hold me like that, standing on the ping pong table in our back room while hoisting me into the bubble of our roof. Growing up, the city lights were so inconsistent that the stars came through like little daggers, stabbing through the omnipresent fog like a horrifyingly concerned neighbor that doesn't trust your safety unless it sees it. Back then, I tried to memorize the night sky so many times, but that's something that never sticks. Certainly not when your imagination is limited to clouds, birds, names, and the alphabet. One day, the table underneath us started to shake, and the sounds of creaking happened. Something awful, like those burning houses. So the design of that room, I really like too. Because I guess I got like low key like architecture. But basically, so it's like if this is the roof, then like there's the bubble window, so it's like this is hollow and it's like holding the baby. So you're standing on a table, and this is the bubble window, this is the roof, and you're putting your baby in the bubble window. So that's that scene. I felt a clammy heat suffocating my belly button. My hand crushed the plastic cup, drink jumping up over my fingers and onto the couch as tepid worms wiggled their way along my flesh, pressing against my skin like defanged jaws suckling effectively at a kill that it couldn't resist. My eyes flew open as a face blocked my vision, bodies and peripherals still, but a yellowish forehead with glitter scattered all across the face, and a warm lump wiggling into my mouth, sliding over my teeth, gliding onto my tongue. The taste was immature spit mixed with cigarettes. I pushed against the body, pressing into mine, but one slimy hand found its way underneath my tit. The other pressed against my shoulder, shoving her tongue down in my throat with a moan. With a hiccup, I retasted my drink and felt tears beginning to form. As fingers wrapped around my chest, I shoved my elbow into the couch for balance, then lifted with everything to push the weight off of me. The tongue detached from my palate, forced past my teeth, and fell out of my mouth with surprising, with a slurping smack. Surprised eyes darted open at me and stared with a greedy smile. The underclassman chick smiled with a challenge, laughed, then balanced her weight on my arm, forcing her tit into my hand as she went in for sloppy kisses, biting my lip as she leaned in. I slipped to the side. I'm taking out the second lean then. I slipped to the side as she pecked at as she pecked at me until my ass was free from under her. She put a hand in my hair. With a groan, I pivoted her weight away from me, shifting myself out from under her and off the couch. Her fingers tore at my hair as I fell to my feet, strands of hair loosening and breaking as I found my balance. The chick laughed, something so awful it made me sick. She turned around on the couch, sitting back in it and extending her arms. "Joe, no, come back," she drunkenly cooed, starting to hug herself and writhing on the couch, gyrating towards me. "Sorry, I need some air," I replied, spitting into my ruined cup. More like a cigarette slut," said that girl, rubbing herself through her jeans while reaching out for my hand. Maybe. I slipped away with a warped gait, sliding on either side of my balance. Once I turned around, I fell against the wall and used it like a guide. Dark pillars mixed with yellow grays and vermilions ruined my vision, whomping in and out like an acid trip. Over the music, I could hear the industrial punch of Detroit, that oppressive, omnipresent traffic that will always be more locomotive than local, that hum of dead and dying tools that ushered in the unrelenting era of production. Through my inebriation, I couldn't make out figures with so many legs. Spiders sung along to music that sounded more tribal than anything else. Two legs dancing around in figure eights and curly cues as two held drinks. One popped pills, and the final one was wrapped around the waist. The fangs of the beast sunk into the nape of of a bobcat, the pussy howling and stamping its feet, wrapping its tail around the spider. Birds, too, birds around the roof. A blink brought darkness, along with the feeling of a sinking floor. I could be lost to everything, fall through to Tartarus. The smell that Dad had filled my senses, bookish, virile, then opaque, unfamiliar. I saw his study, then a Roman soccer match that autumn day. A crushing victory on the board, a field full of 8-year-olds, parents lining either side. The sun broke through the fog and brought in that weak blue, looking distilled in its own lack of interest. All of the kids on Roman team were being picked up by their dads, hollering into the sky about their little victors, except the star player, Roman, who was being held by mom as he cried about scoring too many goals. Open again, and tentacles are dancing, wrapping around legs and feet as ostriches squealed. I felt like I was about to vomit, so I scratched at my shoes, trying to get them off. I fell against the wall and started to slide. So, I don't know what I want to do with Roman yet. Roman's a challenging character for me because I haven't really decided how many kids I want in this family or whatever. Because I also don't know if I want him to be older or younger than Joan yet. Figuring it out for sure. Probably, I mean, because like it was originally he was younger than her. I think it's kind of interesting because he's like so independent. I think it's interesting to have the younger brother be the independent character. Because the older one, it almost feels cliche. But we're thinking about it. We're thinking about it. Also allows her to be a little bit of a bully, and I think it's cool because I think she's like, not to like, compliment my own character, but I think she's very likable. So I think giving her more unlikable characteristics, I think makes her even more understandable and acceptable as a character. Because that's the point of this fucking book is like a flawed person. So I kind of like the like older sister bully. Because yeah, like the bratty little sister isn't as like I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think it's as fresh. Anyways, the point with like the what's going on here is like, I mean, I don't know. I've lived in Detroit a while, and man, man, do people have interesting boundaries? Do they have interesting boundaries? Rapey. Not everybody, obviously. There's just a high propensity of people who don't understand what a no is here. That's something I wanted to put in the book. That's something I think is really part of the experience of being a teenager, especially being a teenage girl. And I just wanted that to be, that's like, I want to be honest about this shit. I don't want to like, it's like, what is it like to be a fucking American teenage girl growing up right now? It's like, so a furry arm caught me under my armpit. A mere cat stared at me. Is it about that time, Joni? It asked. I stared blankly at it, watching the furry hairs dancing. The blonde strings lifted in the air like the fluff that a pet leaves around the house, that omnipresence shedding. The eyes were so simple, glossed over with a mission, almost completely black, completely trained on me. The nose was a dot, uneven but unangled. One of its hands went on my shoulder, the movement leaving its whiskers in a slippery dance. Every one pushing in a different direction. Home, I whispered, grabbing its hand. With an awkward effort, it led us forward, parting the sea of insects and predators with its pathetic hand. I let my head fall loose and stared at the ground as we walked, feeling the kiss of my drink coming up with every step that we took together. My eyes filtered in and out of sentience between nothingness and carpet. Feet of all sorts below me, hooves and sandals, insect bits and chucks, furry embarrassment covered up by timberlands. I closed my eyes in reaction to the overwhelming scene, trying to find my way back into the clouds, back to where the birds belong. The smell of salt, sound of people like a flock of exotic species meeting, the echo of waves kissing the shoreline, turning cliffs into sandbanks. I opened my eyes again and saw that immortal blue, the killer of storms and form. I kissed another blue, darkened with gray and white, maybe more endless than what was above. Dark gray behemoths dotted the horizon. Foamy fractals spread out like the thread of a rug at my feet. Below me, rough sand, the silent accessory to the beautiful killer, that howling ocean. Seagulls flew overhead. Parakeets could be heard in the near distance. I turned and saw Dad next to me, bare chested in a bathing suit, the tan lines of his suit still visible even then. He smiled at me and shooed me towards the ocean. I ran to him and wrapped my arms around his legs. He laughed and then ran his fingers through my hair. I breathed in his smell. He picked me up and kissed my forehead, then held me against him. My heart lifted like I was in the space station. I closed my eyes, pressing my hair into his shoulder. For a few moments, he rocked with me. He rocked me with the wind, and I felt weightless. Then he lowered me back to my feet and turned me towards the sea. I tried to turn back towards him, but he pointed me towards the ocean with a smile. The ocean's capitalized. After I approached him again, he put his hands on my shoulder and turned me around, telling me, "Go meet where we came from, Joni." I took a few steps, then turned back around to face him. He waved to me with that smile, one with which could only ever light up half of his face. He waved to me with that smile, one which could only ever light up half of his face. My heart fluttered, and I turned back around, furrowing my brows. A few steps further, the tip of the water, only a jump away. I turned around again. He gave me a thumbs up. I blushed, then faced the ocean again and took a deep breath. With both hands clenched into a fist, I broke into a run. Within seconds, I met the ocean. It soaked me with a surprising bite, and I shrieked, but didn't look back. My teeth against my lip, my feet parted the oncoming waves, and I just continued to run. The water jumped up to my shins, then my knees, my thighs, my butt, my middle. Salt jumped up and around me, kissing my belly, licking up under my armpits, splashing my face. Squealing, I started to kick until I fell into the ocean, my face falling against the revealing surface, interspersed with light and a splash. Opening my lungs underwater, an attempted stream converted into bubbles, then failed to prevent the ocean from entering me. Salt crushed around my eyes and my teeth as I started to cry and scream and kick, the waves taking over my body, forcing me down towards the wet sands. Black started to bleed into the sky, the birds running from a blanket that started to overtake everything. The smell of blood and vomit replaced salt as I cried and cried, releasing all air from my lungs. All color was lost. All shape faded. My hands reached for nothing as my knees and calves gave out. I started to sink. Okay, so we've got one, two, three. We got 3 pages left that I want to get through. Yeah. Oh, fuck that. It doesn't matter. Jesus. Fuck. Jump, jump, jump. You all right? You all right? A hand was against my back, shaking me. Spittle dribbled from my lips, spreading out like cum, reaching down to the asphalt. The road cracked into dirt patches and grass. Fields went on and on in front of me. I looked up and saw the lights far in the distance. Squinting, I tried to make out the fissure, but none of the skyline was around. It was just fields and distant light. My stomach lurched up in steps, hitting the end of my lungs with a boot, lurching my shoulders forward as it bubbled up in my ribs, crashing and bursting into burning lumps, forcing up and out of my throat like a hammer. A mix of liquor and blood came into my mouth, and I opened, letting it all fall out into a consistent stream, breaking up between my teeth before slopping into an uneven pile on the street. I groaned and stopped and dropped through to my shoulders, resting my neck against the slit of the window. I'm gonna say maybe imitation street. It's so fucked up. Owen, came the voice again, now rubbing my back like a dog's head. "You feeling any better there now, sweets?" Burning wax filled my nostril, and I jumped up, holding on to the sides of the door as I rejected more schlock out of me, coming in untimed burst. The refuse felt lopsided. like I was throwing up segments of my organs. In the night, the fuming pile slid and sunk into the ground, a purplish splatter like a stain on leather shoes. My vomit had splattered wildflowers, too. Come on now. Can't really treat yourself like this, came that voice, the affectation of a caring mother, the truth of being the truth being a condescending impatience. One more stream of alcohol and tar pushed out by my shaking stomach. It came out with a gulp and a sigh, forcing its way around my voice box and my tonsils, sparing nothing of the smell and taste. The biting winter night air brushed against my cheeks. It was the best feeling I had in weeks. I breathed in the scene, but what came was a crisp nothingness that can't exist past 8 Mile. With flickering eyes, I looked out at a row of houses in the distance and smelled my own vomit with comfort. Crying, I spat out some of the taste. Joan, he called again, reaching out for my arm. I sunk back into the truck. Yeah, what? Are you okay? I turned to him. It was Christian, but with the whiskers of the meerkat. He had the ears, too. Yeah, I'm all right, I murmured, sliding my shoulder against the cabin of the truck. I nestled my head into my arm and pulled a leg up to me. Can't keep drinking like that, he said, turning back to the road and shifting the truck into drive. It's irresponsible, you know. You're an athlete. The engine puttered as he pulled back onto the road and then rolled up the window. You're so young. You're going to cause serious damage. I struggled to get out. Okay. My eyes kept flickering in and out of reality. The truck kept driving. The rows of hearts started to be fuller and nicer. Homes that could be outside of LA or in Mission Hills, then more remote and country. Ooh, I tried, but fell back against the window, the cold pressed against my cheek. The street lights disappeared into country roads, more lit by the sterile domain of stoplights than anything else. Where are we going? I was finally able to struggle out. Home, he replied, staring at the road. A little bit of vomit came back up and rested on my palate. I dug in the mixture, resting on the tops of my teeth with my tongue. The road ahead was indifferently lit, crisp and sterile, but sparse. Headlights flashed by every once in a while. As the night passed by, it was pensive, slicking past with trails of green and purple. Christian's engine went by like a Miyazaki machine, fluttering over hills, almost silent in its technocratic glory. I rocked in my seat, sweating while panting, holding on to what was left of my stomach with my soul. What the fuck? I asked, pressing my hands against the airbag. We're almost home, honey, Christian said, eyes on the road, both hands on the wheel. No, no. I shook my head. Not home. Almost there, Joan. Not home. Not home. Not my home. I spoke with a mouth filled with spittle. This isn't right. His truck passed by 5482, then 5486, closer and closer to his house. I wanted to cry, but couldn't grab my head. I was outside of myself, like if I was talking to my body. I ripped at my sweater sleeves, rolling my eyes back and moaning. It'll be okay, he said, taking one hand off the wheel, putting it on my shoulder, then turning to me with a smile. I shuddered, pulled away with a sigh, then patted myself down for cigarettes. They were there. I took a flop and a twist to slide my fingers in and fished them out. I rolled down the window and sparked it. Good night, he said, drumming the steering wheel with his fingers. Great night. I'm so jazzed up. It's great to see the guys. Mm-hmm, I replied, blowing flecks of vomit out with my puff. Did you hear what Jack said? He let his silence hang, then continued. He was talking about his dad. Yeah. How he trades these things. Yeah. Like stocks and shit like that. Then he was talking with this guy at a meeting. And the guy in the meeting said it was just like, like, I don't know, like there's this whole setup with this truck that kept breaking down. But then the joke ended up with being built Fort Tough instead of Ford, The cat built Fort Tough. He laughed again, smacking the steering wheel with the palm of his hands. His chordal was a terrible thing, a cracking imitation of the rubbing hands dad's. The one that's always telling a story, reacting to one, the male pattern baldness type, the more expensive espresso machine than wedding ring crowd. Damn. We pulled into his driveway. The headlights cut through the garage door to the back wall of the garage as it opened. Fishing pole. I think I'm just gonna say door and then late garaging because yeah, don't have the double in there. Fishing poles rested against the concrete colored wall. Against the concrete walls. On either side of his house, rows of houses, not a single dress missing. The building stood on either side of his house, rows of numbers, not a single digit missing. Yes. Yeah, I like that more because it abstracts it. On either side of his house, rows of numbers, not a single digit missing. The building stood like piers, lurking with their shoulders hunched at you, ensuring the safety of their business. A haunting spirit of upper middle class hysteria pervaded the neighborhood, like an echo of dinner. Even in winter, it all looked mowed, and Christmas lights wrapped up the entire neighborhood, choking the cheer out of your irises. And here we are, he sang, cutting the engine. Are you ready? He asked with a greedy smile. One of his hands reached over to my leg. I tensed up into his fingers, the hair on my neck standing. The sweat from his palms immediately clung to my pants. He leaned in for a kiss, but I slunk back, then pointed to the window, following my finger with an exhale. Jesus Christ, dude, take a hint. Oh, God damn it. Why didn't you roll up the window? He grunted, fumbling his key back into the ignition and turning on the car. Because I'm smoking, I replied, blowing smoke along the window as it rose from the grave, cutting a film of my vomit. Whatever, he replied, jumping out of the car once the windows were up. It's time to start the night. Happy holidays. Let's see. Let's see. Jesus, how long is this? Damn it. Okay, I've got 2 pages left. He closed the door and walked around the car, dragging his hands on the hood as he stared at me. I started ghosting my drag to keep as much nicotine as I could. I have to change the. Once he opened my door, he slipped a hand under my knees and one under my ass, hoisting me up like I was in a booster seat. I went up with a groan, ashing my cigarette onto his hair. He closed the door to his truck with his loafer. Rubbing his face into my bone, Christian carried me to the kitchen entrance in his garage. Squishing me against it, he balanced my weight as he smacked the button for the garage door to go down, then fumbled his way through the one to the kitchen. Once that was open, we fell through for a second, my entire weight shifting at an angle against him, adrenaline rushing through my muscles, my legs tensed to push off of him and secure my own balance. He caught his balance and me, but wrapped his hand around mine, which was jutting down, expecting to meet the ground, cigarette still burning. He howled and withdrew it, then balanced me onto the blade of his collarbone. Fuck, he spat, then kicked the cabinet next to him. Fuck, ow. He grabbed my cigarette, then threw it into the garage. You need to stop smoking, he growled. It's bad for you. I rolled my eyes and shifted my weight onto his hand. That was burned as he rebalanced my weight, chafing against the skin with his foot the other door. His home was dark except for little flowering oases, streaks of blue light and horizontal lines on the granite counter. The glow lighting up the walkway around the viewing room, spots dotted here and there along the bottom of a wall. The toaster, the coffee pot, phone chargers, TVs. Everything glowed with a pacified tone. Technology trying to pass as an evolutionary link, like the dog. Shit. Huh. That's a good sentence. Oh, thanks. Flames flickered up around the room, lighting under the floorboards. It spread smoke so thick that none of the features could be seen. Screams sounded from everywhere in the house, accenting the red on a slow burn towards magenta with a stringy texture. A wolfish man jumped through the window with a crowbar. He pushed Christian down, kicking me to the side. Then he strangled Christian up against the wall, teeing up his head like a golf ball. And faded in and out of the curves of the smoke, slowly being pulled out into a straight line.
Then the man went to make a stroke, his body gracefully preparing for the motion with light feet and articulated posture. Christian's teeth popped out of his face with pregnant afterbirth, strings flying out of his mouth along with spacklings of blood. The crook of the crowbar cracking through his cheek, through the bottom of his jaw, linking them together in a loose, hanging mass of gore. Christian screamed so loud his voice broke, but it was muffled by blood and dribblings coming loose from his mouth. The wolf put his boot against Christian's shoulder, then kicked him loose of the crowbar. The support beam from the house started to crack, spreading flames and ash through the air. The man went in for another swing, the flat of the bar pressing in and cracking into the forehead of the oaf. Another swing and another. As one of Christian's eyes came loose, the support beam dropped, landing across the television. The silent whir of a house of peace. Nothing stirred. There was no ash, nothing. My hurried breath was out of place in the sterile surroundings. I looked through the windows into the darkness to spot nothing, feel nothing. Christian's hand appeared behind my thighs. I was hoisted up once again. He carried me up 2 flights of carpeted stairs, past his parents' room, past his brother's, and into his den. On his walls were posters of Creed and Queen, which had always made me want to puke. I think we're gonna go with Chuck. I want Chuck. Hurl. That's what I'm looking for. Hurl. Without warning, I was dropped on the bed. Bo started trying to arouse me with his short-wide, stubby fingers, grabbing the sides of my legs, batting at my tits, panting as he started to haunch over me. He began to fumble with the button to my jeans. I pushed his hand away, but he just went at it again, ignoring my resistance. In accordance with some strategy I don't understand, he was breathing heavily on my jeans, letting drops of spittle fall onto them with a disturbing, kittenish growl. Putting my hands on my shoulders, I sat up, pulling his head away from me and said all sexy like, "Wouldn't you rather me do some of the work?" He grinned like an idiot, then jumped up on the bed, hands on either side of him like he was trying on shoes. For a moment, he began to undo his sleeves, but before he could finish, I unbuttoned his pants and pushed him down on the bed. So, this is the ending scene, or first part of this book. So we start with that party. We end up here. Whipping out his pathetic chode, I wanted to choke on the liquor still in my throat. Champions don't give up, though, so I took his discolored worm in my mouth and began to literally suck on it on account of how drunk I was, my lips occasionally shifting as I fell in and out of consciousness. Blowing something so lackluster seemed like too much right then. Yeah. Blowing something so lackluster seemed like too much right then. In honesty, I could never tell whether or not his dick was hard. It didn't really change much, and it was dissatisfying either way. For a few moments, I grew on the limp noodle, treating it like half of a cough drop. But he was having the time of his life, moaning more than when I eat out a dancer's asshole. Within 30 seconds, his hands were wrapped in the sheets, fingers plunging into the folds as he called out with an alto tone, shaking his legs as glumps of basic glue clumped to my mouth. I let his cock drop as he came, dodging it to let the blast bombs land on his carpet in a pool, which I spat the rest into. For taste, I ran my dirty fingernails around the inside of my lips and under my tongue, then I licked my shirt. Christian laid there, eyes flickering. "You're so wonderful," he moaned, stretching out in his bed with a smile. I curled up into a ball facing away from him, pillow behind me. "It's too hot," I complained when he touched me with a finger. Curling deeper inside myself, I tried to hold on to whatever I could find of my self-respect and calm, repeated again and again. Let Sober Joan deal with it. 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 Yep. Ain't that a fucking depressing trip to open up a book? I'm glad we got through all of that. That was a lot. What page are we on, man? So that was like 10 pages. It's like 11, 12 pages. Let's get the real number. Yeah. So we did 12 pages. Or 11 and a half. That was fun. That was a whole thing. Wow. Yeah, that's my book that I'm working on currently. That's my favorite character I've made. Um, what are we doing with the live streaming thing? I don't really know. This is an experiment because I'm trying to see what you can do to make the editing process something that you can share. Or, just because it's like I'm not really ready to release this book. I also don't have an editor. So that's part of it. But I don't know if I even want one. Because like I do like doing the work myself. I just don't have the I don't have the funds or the time to focus on writing right now. So this gives me a way to hang out and also a way to just make it easy. So I don't know. I think that there's ways to improve it. Something I'm gonna do for next time for sure is probably set up OBS so I can do my screen. So I think that would be helpful. Yeah, and then you guys could just read along with me. For like the entire editing process, I don't really plan I don't really care about digital copies. I don't really care about charging for them as much as I do with physical copies because you might be able to tell I'm a physical book guy. And that's the stuff that I like. So that's what I prefer to sell. That's what I would prefer to have as units, you know. So that's where I'm at with it. So, I don't know, complicated process, but a cool one. All right, I don't know if it's complicated. It's also good practice because I'm going to be starting a podcast soon on a more professional basis. And it's cool to just have spent 2 hours on air, just focused doing stuff. That's cool. Not really I don't know. It was noticeably I was running out of focus, so that was getting difficult. I don't know how much I could read out loud. It'd be cool. So my plan right now is to kind of go through all of it. And now that I've read all of that to you, it's unlocked, so it's we can work on that. We don't need to read it aloud again. I can just use that as because there's no spoilers because it's already been here. I think that's an interesting way to do it or whatever. Obviously I'm into the idea of taking suggestions or whatever. That stuff's that's kind of part of the whole live streaming process. But I don't know. It's mostly just for fun, and I think there's an interesting idea here. I just don't quite know how to fully make it into something formalized. It's a little difficult to just make that work out into a smooth thing. But I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. The point, it is a little bit of a disturbing book. I write primarily disturbing literature because I think that it's better to deal with your problems than ignore them. That's my honest philosophy behind it, and why every one of my books is about a challenging topic or includes challenging topics. And that's just what I do. That's how I have that going on. It's sort of a theme. I don't know. My point in it is that, I guess it's essentially, I didn't know this when I was starting, but now I can kind of use this as my excuse is that it's the Dostoevskian ideal that nobody is past, we're all sinners. We all have our own faults. We all have whatever. You just gotta love people. But for me, it's not like that because there's no religious resolution. So for me, it's the idea that life is beautiful even though if it's made of these awful things. And it's I don't know because I think that religion sort of explains away a lot of things. And it's I don't really need a justification for why awful things happen because I do believe it's sort of chance. Why did all these awful things happen to me? Why do they happen to children? Why aren't people born with good lives? Why aren't people, able to take care of themselves? There's things that should be fair that are just life. And I think that, wow. to redeem people. I think that it's worthwhile to look into awful people, and I mean, at least in fiction, you know. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be friends with these people. I'm not saying that you gotta like welcome them into your house. I'm just saying that for in terms of being an artist or in terms of just exploring those ideas, we might as well. We're just writing art of ourselves and just writing art about what we can relate to. Like, isn't that sort of a waste? You know, because like this is the medium that allows us to become other people. This is the medium that allows you to most like I would say transcend time. You know, it's just like at a certain like at the end of the day, what you're doing, like we could never experience Mozart because Mozart was, you know, it was a fucking event. It was like a riot every time he dropped a track. We're never going to be a part of that. But with books, reading a book is essentially the same experience no matter when. Like it doesn't matter if you read Shakespeare in 500 years, you're essentially getting Shakespeare. That's a bad example because he performed, but you know what I mean. Um, the people reading the versions of Shakespeare that we have available 100 years ago and we today are pretty much getting the same experience from that book because, you know, it's like it's displaced. There's no location to it. It's just an experience. Meanwhile, with music, it is, I would say, like way more culturally linked. It's like, you know, dancing itself is an active activity. Writing, you don't really have that. So this is some bullshit ideas, but we're about to end this. It's cool to do hour 30. So there's like content idea here. I think that OBS is necessary. Probably be easier without a webcam too. Yeah, I like this format. I mean, it's not even a format yet, but I like this concept. I don't really know what else much to say. No one's in here. No one's in here. I don't got an audience, so this is mostly my ideas. But that's what's fun about it. Oh, I don't know. As far as the Lean for Bail channel, I have no fucking idea. Little art thing, no fucking idea. That'll just come up if like that comes up. Otherwise, it's just, you know, this is what you're gonna probably be expecting. This is where I'm at with my life. There's some re-release stuff that I want to do for sure. That's something else I gotta do. There's a mixtape I want to put out. Okay, so after that, after this, I'm gonna do that. See, we can get that going. It will be good. Cool. Happy May. Happy May. I think we're ending it. Cool. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you liked it. Fuck yeah.